Yo, yo, yo. Yeah, man. Um, back once again, I like to say I appreciate y'all so much for staying tuned in. On this explosion of truth in in this in this lecture, the Backwardness 2, and now we are transitioning to the education the education the education half of the Backwardness 2, which and I pray and I hope that you all are enjoying this thing, and y'all are as tuned in, and y'all are online, as online as I am, and with this lecture. And so, just to really begin this, I first off like to dedicate this portion of the lecture to, my teachers, to my teachers, because I truly believe that in life that, our teachers, those that truly cared for us in the classroom, I believe their spirits really shined. I believe their spirits really shine, and I believe that teachers are some of the most memorable people in all of our lives. From day to day. Whether that be, grandmother, mama, grandmother, someone, a true physical teacher in the classroom, your brother, and whatever level that you take your education on, because, we should understand that education is truly a lifelong process, and so before anything, I like to dedicate this lecture to some of my greatest teachers, which are, my friends, my mother, my father, my brother, all the family around me, because even the ones that I call friends are my family, and if your friends aren't close enough to be your family, then something's wrong, and I have a circle. I have a circle of people around me where, ignorance is forbidden. Ignorance is not bliss here. Ignorance is forbidden. It's the polar opposite. We live by the Christ rule. Our people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. So in my circle, we refuse to let you be an ignoramus. We refuse to let you revel in ignorance. You understand? So, this one is to all the great teachers in my life, all the way from the Miss Gonzalez to, Mr. Womack, Miss Poe Relaford, Miss Carter, the whole Macon, Georgia knows who Ella Carter is, to Miss Carter, and she is an epitome. She is an epitome of education, and guidance through education, because I'm so thankful for her, because I remember, just my first time ever meeting Miss Carter at Jones Elementary. She'd make us stand up. She'd come in class, and she'd make us stand. She make the young black men, more than anybody, stand up in class, and say correct sentences, and so many things, So I'm really so grateful and so thankful for her presence in all of our lives, and just the presence of teachers, period, and ultimately, teachers being, especially those that care, teachers being people who God ultimately, radiates through, So just starting off on that level, I definitely wanted to call them out, and not through these last few years in my life, these last several 4 to 5 years of my life, I've been on this enlightenment period, and the greatest teachers that I have found, I must call their names from, on the Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Yosef Benjamin, Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, my man Raza Adonis Tafari, Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, Professor Griff, Dr. Asher Kwasi, Dr. Claude Anderson, Dr. Umar Johnson, Dr. Delbert Blair, Dr. Khalid Muhammad, Malcolm X, Dr. Mutulu Shakur, Dr. Amos Wilson, Michelle Alexander, um, um, let's see, Dr. Alton Maddox, Dennis Kimbrough, Neely Fuller Jr., Tony Browder, Brother Bobby Hemmett, His Imperial Majesty, um, uh, let's see, Dr. Phil Valentine, Bob Marley, Tupac Shakur, all of our teachers, Dr. Barrett Shango, Dr. Joy Leary, Sonia Barrett, Sophia Stewart, Brother Dick Gregory. Brother Dick Gregory was actually the first activist that I ever heard that truly changed my life, because this is a true difference between, always hearing the mainstream, the Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. I wouldn't even say Malcolm X is really mainstream if people really knew his story, but, like the Dr. Martin Luther King, there's a whole total difference between him and really knowing those African scholars and really having that African scholarship, and really studying those brothers and sisters. I have the book Chancellor Williams, Dr. Chancellor Williams. Most definitely have to call him out. Dr. Ray Higgins, Dr. Asa Hilliard, Dr. Sebi. So many brothers and sisters. Brother Polite, Dr. Walter Williams. All these brothers that I'm calling out. Dr. Marimba Ani, Marimba Ani. And Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Dr. Naeem Akbar, all these names that I just called, man. Y'all could do all your research, man, and pull up all their sources, man, and pull up their work, pull up their material, and check them out, because this lecture, and this is gonna be everything that we must acknowledge. And all of us have these teachers in us, all this knowledge is within us. Kwame Ture, I'm glad. I don't know if I even called Brother Kwame Ture's name. But another awesome leader and teacher. And ultimately, the greatest teacher being God. The greatest teacher being the Most High. Being the Most High, Big Mama and Big Daddy. And understanding that this planet is ours, that the planet is our campus, and everyone, everything, and everywhere is a new subject. You understand? Everyone, everything, everywhere is a new subject. And when you have your ears open, and when you keep your ears open, and when you listen, and when you understand that God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, so you can listen more than you can speak, and you can receive. You understand? You can truly receive. So us understanding just these true intangibles of the planet, that the planet is our campus. We're not confined to a classroom. And there is such thing as cosmic scholarship. And that's ultimately what we all are trying to achieve. So many people probably be like, oh, how this motherfucker know so much? How you know all whatever? Because I have a cosmic scholarship. You understand? And ultimately, I've worked hard, and I've done more reading and researching than I could imagine. I've done more reading and research, and I'm going to continue, because this is a lifelong process. I will never stop. I have an insatiable hunger, insatiable desire to learn and to know. Always, and I pray that this is the spirit that cultivates and develops through our society and through our youth and our future. And this is what I command out of the cosmos. Amen. So to get started with this portion of the Backwardness 2 education, we will be diagnosing, combing through, and analyzing the way that the American public education system has been an effective separation tool, and has been ultimately the breeding grounds, and ultimately laid the groundwork for society as it works today. You know, and everything that you see today, we will ultimately see how the education in America, all the way from kindergarten to college, all the way from the kindergarten to the grandest college scholarships, you know, are actually backwards programs. The bottom line, a whole backward system, and we will diagnose the psychology, you know, and we will ultimately see the psychology that has been bred in us from the lowest level to the highest level of education in the American system. Amen. Amen. Now, the first thing that, you know, we should understand is just on the elementary level. Just on the elementary level, we were separated, you know, and racism was implemented. You understand? Just on the elementary level. Now, when I was in elementary school, which was just not too long ago, you know, and that, you know, most of us can attest to this, you know, that when we was in elementary school, and even our fathers, you know, and even our mothers and fathers and grandparents, some of our grandparents, you know, when we were taught about the becoming of America, you know, we were taught that, you know, the founding fathers, that the founding fathers were running from the Queen, you know, and they came here in pursuit for, you know, religious freedom, running from the Queen or whatever, you know, fighting with the Queen or whatever, you know. And this is why they came to America. But this is a instant backwardness, because if that is the case, then why, you know, in Washington D.C., you know, there are so many streets that are named after the people that they were supposedly running from, you know, that our founding father was supposedly running from. Right now, so many times on TV, you'll see, and they'll show the presidents, you know, bowing to the Queen, bowing to the so-called Queen. If you listen to the radio, you know they say things like across the pond in England, across the pond in England, you know, across the pond in England, and just in the word game, and that's another thing that we're definitely going to tackle in this education portion of the backwardness too, is the word games, you know, and how the English language ultimately is a design system of implemented backwardness, you know, and how really you could see all of the trickery just within the word games. You know, that's going to be another great portion and another great factor of the education in the backwardness, you know. So for all of us who went to these schools, and we heard of the same things, you know, that the founding fathers came here running from the Queen, you know, but if you go to DC now, like I'm saying, so many of the streets in DC are named directly after the people that they were so-called running from. And if you know about the American government, understand that DC is not a city nor a state. It's not noticed. It's not recognized as a city or a state. This is another total backwardness to the American society. You know, the simple fact that, hold on.